we are back down the famous sandbar down St Mary's Well Bay. As you can see over my right shoulder, it's just starting to uncover now. But anyone that knows me, I don't rush on. If there's a group of anglers here, I normally let them wade on first, let them set up, and then I walk past them all. So my days of rushing on there are gone. It doesn't pay off, rarely. But it's lovely, 0 mile-an-hour wind. There's quite a bit of weed floating around in the water, so I'm hoping on the flood that it's not going to cause too many problems. But it looks like it's drifting quite close in, so fingers crossed it'll be alright. But as you can see, it's flat calm. It's currently 2 hours till low water, just before I do go on, just to show you. There's anglers already walking on, but the amount of times where I've rushed on and then got a spot and then someone comes within 5-10 meters of me. And if anyone knows a tide on the flood of the Sandspit, it's quite bad. But it's not a massive tide today, it's only a 10.8 meter, which is almost a 14 meter Barry scale. It's borderline. I'd like it to be a little bit bigger, about another half a meter, 3/4 of a meter bigger. But I'm gonna let this guy walk on. As soon as he puts his gear down, I'll head on past him then. So, but yeah, it's only 2 of us here at the moment. It's looking lovely. But just to give you a little tip, because the Sandspit is such a short period to fish, it's always good to be 1 step ahead. So behind the camera, I've got my rod set up, I've practice carp bedded my new line in, I've baited up 4 rigs. So basically, because you get about 1 hour and 45 minutes down and about hour and 20 minutes of flood, depending on the size of the tide, and especially if the wind is with the flood, it pushes you off quicker. So the time you get on there, you put your reels on your rod, you get your rigs out, you practice cast, you wet your line, you bait up, you've wasted 20 minutes, half hour. And the amount of times I've come on here and I've had a blonde first cast straight away, I don't think I'd have had if I was spending that time baiting up. So I let this guy walk on now, and then I'm gonna head on over and see if we can catch a doggy. Doggy! Just got on here now. I'm at the very end. Front of what we call black rock, ball rock. Some people have it different. So I'm just going to go. I'm absolutely sweating, it's boiling, so I'm going to take this hoodie off in a minute. Overcast, looks bright. Yeah, the first one I just put out was whole anchovy and whole squid on a 5-foot pulley with an 8-ounce lead, and here we got double sand eel, squid with an 8-ounce lead and a 5-foot pulley. I know there's no tide here on the air, but as soon as it starts flooding, but I don't want to go from 7s to 8s because the first couple of casts it'll feel weird. So I just stick with 8s, it's easier. Yeah, so we've got the first rods out. It's 1.5 hours, so 19 minutes till low water. They've probably been out there about 10 minutes. I've just noticed on the left hand rod a gentle little pullover, but there is quite a bit of weed out there, but there's none in front of me just yet. It's more down that way, so unless there's some a bit further out or mid water, then maybe it was weed that touched the rod and not a fish. But yeah, it's looking good. Absolutely perfect conditions. Tide's a little bit smaller than I'd like, but it is what it is. Yeah, absolutely beautiful day. So on the right hand rod I got whole anchovy and squid. A left-hand rod, I got double sand eel and squid. And then baited up on the stand there is whole anchovy and squid and bluey and squid. So it's looking good for it. Yeah, I've heard rumours down here this year, quite a lot of people are losing a lot of gear. Which is not good, because the Sandspit is a love it or hate it venue. I said before in my video a couple of years ago I was catching blondes, you could have it pegged out 1 to 30 and 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 will be catching and 2, 4, 6, 8 will be blanking. It's just one of them venues. So I've been on here with about 30 people and I'm the only one that's blanked. And I've been on here one day. I was on here with Gand. Richie brought his 2 kids over, Richie you'll remember. About 30 people here on a Sunday and I was the only one that caught. I had 2 blondes, 11 and 15. So it's just one of them places. It's just one of them places. Yeah, with the Sandspit, never think that you can't drop one close in. Because trust me, there's some massive ones close in. But the reason why I bang the first ones out as far as I can is because when you're chasing the tide, if I only bang it 80 yards, for example, I've moved down 40, maybe 50 yards now, it's only going to be 40 yards of water. So more like half hour before low or an hour before low, I'll drop one about 70 yards. Because they could be sitting just on the edge. A mate of mine used to have a boat, Mark, a long time ago, and he used to come on top of the spit and literally fish where people used to set their gear. And the amount of blondes he used to catch, and he used to message me, oh, you know, 5, 10, 15 blondes over the boat today, mate. I get it on you, I drop one 60, 70 yards, blonde straight away. My cousin one day came on here and he was a bugger for not wetting his line. Got on here in the dark, all, you know, raring to go. First cast, I was like, oh no! And he went left and over my line, because as he was trying to sort out his birdie, my right hand rod was just giving it all rattly. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then as he's picking out his birdie, he's getting pulled into the water. And he's like, what the hell? So he winds in over his birdie, had a PB blonde of 19.5 or 19.9, a big black thing. So that was first cast on the ebb, must have landed 30, 40 yards in between my 2 lines, because my right hand rod was bouncing because of his shock leader or his main line. So sometimes you could be overcasting fish. That is really deep. Oh my god. Oh, there it is. Stuck to the left. That's mad. A massive hole there. Huge hole. It's a huge hole, 2 foot's probably over my head. There's nothing on the first ones. This is the other first cast. Let's get it in. This is one I thought I had a little nibble on. Loads of wheeling and dragging through the sand. Probably a doggy. There's something on there. Yeah. Doggy, I think. Blank over. My favourite fish. Yeah, it was pretty much straight away. It was a very slow bite, like a little pullover. I actually thought it might be a little ray, but no. There's a doggy. I heard a little rumour about dogfish many years ago. The likes of Captain Jack Sparrow used to catch dogfish, skin them, and use their skin to rub down the decks of the boats. I'm not sure if it's true. I might give Johnny Depp a message on Instagram and say, what's happening, mate? How many doggies did you kill? See what he says. Probably just blocked me, like everyone else does. Yeah, while we're talking about Instagram and Facebook and all that, just to let you know, Alex, I've had a few messages asking why did I come off Facebook. I come off for a few days because I'm literally 40. Am I 40 this year? Yeah, 40 this year, and I just, there's more to life than bloody Facebook. So because a lot of people thought I blocked them, and I said, well, if I had blocked you, you wouldn't be able to private message me. I just had enough of Facebook, so what I'd done is I reactivated it, deleted everything off it. I want nothing to do with Facebook. I'll keep it because it's handy to be nosy, because, like, for example, if I want to go fishing Saturday, and let's say for example I want to come here on a Saturday, and Friday it fished is absolute nuts off, I wouldn't come here. And I'd see that by being on Facebook. Now if I wasn't on Facebook and I rocked up on a Saturday morning with about 150 billion anglers, I wouldn't have known that it fished well yesterday, if that makes sense. So that is the only reason why I'm on Facebook now, is just to have a nose, see what's being caught. Right, double sand eel and squid, I think. Yes, double sand eel and squid. Right, way down. The sea is like a sheet of glass. The good thing about today is, which is I love to see, is if I do get a blonde, 95% of the time they come up on the surface. So that will be a view to see, that will. Double sand eel and squid. Tell you what, in this thin black top I look about 10 stone. So a nice bite, nice sharp bite on the left hand rod. No doubt it's another dog. You see that? We got a doggy. I said there was like little taps of doggy bites, had a nice little pullover. It slowly starts to go over and then lift it back up, like a slow bite. Hopefully it might be a little ray. Over, there you go, look, yeah. That's a ray, that is. The other one's dropped a bit slack. Thing is, if there's not many rays out there, just the odd one here and there, nothing to compete for, then there's no reason for them to pick it up and move off. You can have rays sat on there for 10-15 minutes. A recent Friars one. I had a 914 thorny on the one rod, and then while we're dealing with that, my other rod was like just like little taps. Just thought it was a doggy, just left it. Picked it up, and yeah, it was a thorny, about £6. Over I go, but that's a rate. That's a rate. Yeah. That's a blonde. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a blonde. That's mad. Get a little doggy bite. Turn to your way. It's not on the surface. Probably a spotted a thorny. Now it comes up. It's neither a bloody eel. Oh, and a snag. Oh no. What? That's a eel. That's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal, you know. Definitely a double. Yeah, we got a lovely eel. Easy double figure. Completely blind. On this side. Yeah, he's being difficult. Oh, it's not a nice eel. Fair play to him, right? But I thought it was a blonde, but it isn't. What's he turning around coming in? Yeah, he gave me a couple of little rattly bites, like pulls, and then more ray bites, and then as you've seen, hope you see, it started to go over. I picked the rod up and it started pulling back, and then because it didn't come to the surface, I was thinking, oh, maybe a thorny, and then no, we got a nice eel, a blind, half blind eel. Bang on low water now. We've got a little back eddy start in a minute, so, but yeah, it's only 11:45 now, so I will make my way off the spit and fish down that end, because I know a few small rays come off that bay on a small tide the other week. So got a good 45 minutes to an hour by here, and then I'll make my way down there. We're about 20 minutes into the flood. I've moved back once, but I've come down about 50 yards to my left, and the next cast I'll work my way down that way. Yeah, this place can be tough, honestly. You just don't know where they are. Are they up by Sully Island? Are they in front of you? Are they down there? You just don't know. Are they 50 yards? Are they 150 yards? You know, unless your bait's in the water, you're not going to know. Yeah, so if you've never been to the Sandspit before and you feel like you want to come down in a day. Wait for it to slightly uncover so you know what's going on. If you look at the cliff behind you where it tapers down, pretty much in the middle, you'll see like a Christmas tree looking tree. So you'll see it fully uncover, but always bear in mind You've got a massive channel of water behind the spit. So basically, as the tide's coming in, it's coming around you. So you gotta be careful. You know, you got a good hour and a half for the flood, depending on the size of the tide. But yeah, this is the channel. Could be some good fish in there. You get some bass, you get mullet, you get sole, all small hooks. You can fish off Ball Rock into there. It's good. So yeah, just if you've never been to the Sandspit before, go with someone that's been, or come down here when it's fully exposed, just to see what it looks like. Because no fish or any risk is worth your life. Yes. Very, very, very quiet. Can't believe I'm now on my own. Crazy. Probably got about another half hour on here max. It's coming up to about an hour after now. Normally on a medium tide you don't get this long. But they've been out there a good 45 minutes now. Literally, must have cast them 70, 80 yards, big baits. Got a whole anchovy, a whole squid, pretty much a whole small bluey and a whole squid. Yeah, fishing is very, very patchy. Unless you hit it, it's still like, we're like, what, the middle of April? And I've always said, like, in 20 plus years ray fishing, this is the worst year ever. Like, going back on my photos, because obviously when you take a photo, you got all time and dates. Literally by the end of February, beginning of March, I'm getting blondes every trip. It's the middle of April and I've had one. I am shocking. I'm just gonna swear at them. But the thing is, if they're not there, you know, you're not gonna catch them. But yeah, it looks good though, lovely day. The wind's picking up from tomorrow though. Starting to blow 25 plus easterly, northeasterly, which is not very nice. Yeah, it's an amazing place, this Sandspit. It really, really is. You know, if you put the time in on you, you will get a monster. I think anything under £15, £16 is a small fish for the spit, personally. But you get a lot of fish around the 17, 19, few 20s. The biggest one I know of was Dean Bowsy, a good mate of mine, a good mate of Richie. So Richie I fish with, a good mate of his. I think it bottomed his scales out, I think, something like that, £25 plus. Massive thing it was. Oh, come on. Come on, fishies. Oh, right, let's see what happens. Yeah, so guys, that brings us to the end of another video. Unfortunately, the last two casts were out there pretty much 45 minutes of time, untouched. Lots of weed coming through. So I thought I'd quickly pack up, run up to the top of the cliff and video the last of the Sandspit being covered by the flooding tide. So it's absolutely boiling. I'm dripping with sweat. I don't know why, but it's just a habit of putting my thermals on. Oof. It's got to be 18 degrees as well. It's boiling. And I pretty much run up here to catch the last of the sandbar for you. So I'll get out your way and let the tide do its thing. Until the next time, tight lines.